This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
It does? Okay.
Mine would be eating good, Dudley.
Eating good. Give me a second. I'll think of a better one.
Wrestle Geekdom wants to know, of all the ECW shows Tony has watched so far, what have been some of his favorite ECW matches?
You know what? I really liked Mike Awesome against Spike Dudley.
Wow.
But I think my favorite one is Mike Awesome against Tanaka.
Oh yeah. They tore it up.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite one. Oh, and any match that Taz had. Sorry.
Thank you. Boy,
Ooh, shit.
You saved us both a lot of trouble right there.
Yeah, we sure did.
Thank you.
Sorry, Taz. Any match you've ever had is my favorite.
Hey, hypothetically, we had somebody on Twitter ask this. You think we could get a GoPro cam view of Taz dumping you on your head? So like
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Well, I mean, he can throw you. He's told me several times, I can't bump anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't bump other people.
Oh yeah. Well, he's going to throw me eventually. Because, like I said, because I love him, but he's got that temper, brother. And, and I just, how you just kind of poke the bear?
Yeah.
And I can tell when I'm doing it too much, but one of these days I'm not going to be able to tell I'm doing it too much. And then you're just going to see me fly through the air.
Dude, he'll get hot on you in a hurry. He wakes up looking for a reason to be mad. Does he not?
Well, yeah, apparently.
Speaking of people who are mad, let's track Shane Douglas here.
So now, Al Snow, let's go to the ring and let's find out who's the better man. Because win or lose, after I walk down the aisle, I may not be the world's heavyweight champion, but I will forever, in this history, this sport will know me as a fighting champion and as a franchise.
Oh, man.
So here we see the history of him throwing down the NWA world title. That was August 27th, 1994. And he lists all the great wrestlers who held it. And he says, and they can all kiss my ass. And
how did they get the NWA world title? What transpired to give them that title?
I'm so glad you asked.
Thank you.
So there was a tournament. The NWA was, obviously separated from WCW by this point. So we've got to create a new world champion. So they all got together and decided they were going to have the finals here. And, when I say here, I mean at the ECW arena.
Okay.
And Shane Douglas, wound up winning the thing. Dennis Corluzzo is sitting there. He's another big time NWA promoter in the area. I think he's based out of New Jersey. I could be mistaken. But he was, one of the big NWA promoters in the Northeast, and they were working with Paul Lee, whose Eastern Championship Wrestling had a little bit of swag. It was actually Todd Gordon's at the time, but Paul Lee was the booker, and Paul Lee came up with a crazy idea, I believe, as the story goes, and pitched it to Todd Gordon, and they both liked it, and they pitched it to Shane with the understanding that if this got out, then they were, done in the NWA and would really cause some friction, and Shane went along with it. And so Dennis Corluzzo is sitting there, I believe with the president of the NWA at the time, and watch it happen. And they had no idea it was coming. And he would throw it down and then pick up the ECW world title instead.
Wow. How about that? What a story. Ooh, wish he'd bite on my ear like this.
It was, the last match was him and Too Cold Scorpio.
Wow.
So the belt was vacated through the whole ruling with WCW in September of 93. So it's nearly a year later before we crown a world champ, but it was supposed to be Shane Douglas. And, interestingly enough, they wind up doing something different. They have another tournament, this time in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, I believe, again, with Carluzzo, and Tracy Smothers is in the finals. Can you imagine Tracy Smothers, NWA world champ?
Wow.
It didn't happen. Instead, it was Chris Candido, who we know, ironically, would go on to be a part of the triple threat with Shane Douglas. Other NWA champions after that, including Dan Severn, Gary Steele, Sabu, Steve Corino, Shinya Hashimoto.
Yeah.
And then Ken Shamrock won it here in Huntsville, Alabama in June of 2002. And that's when NWA TNA kicked off, and they went nuts for a bit. And then eventually, of course, they separate from TNA. And
when you say went nuts for a bit, what exactly you mean?
well, I'm just saying
They were doing good business and they were hot and.
Well, it was like so in 2002, it went Shamrock, Ron Killings, Jeff Jarrett. That's through TNA. In 2003, it's AJ and Jeff Jarrett. In 2004, it's AJ and Ron Killings and Jeff Jarrett. In 2005, things start to get a little rocky, and it feels like, and maybe, we're going to do some different stuff, and people are talking about branching out, but they decide to keep it in the house. So Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, Raven, Jeff Jarrett, Rhino, Jeff Jarrett. That's all 2005.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like rapid fire title changes. And then eventually, they end their agreement with TNA in 2007. So they had 5 years with TNA.
Okay. And now purchased by Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bought it. I hope the investment was worth it.
Some of your old pals have been, the NWA world champion, Cody, of course, won it all in, September of 2018. What a historic show that is. I think one of the most important wrestling shows of the modern era. I don't think it can be argued. But then before that, your pal Colt Cabana was champ, and your old buddy Steve Corino was champ. And
yeah, man, Corino's old fucker too, by the way. Go ahead.
I love Corino.
But he's old.
Corino to me is one of the more underrated wrestlers of all time. He's only 46 years old right now. He'll turn 47 later this month, but
he looks 8. Go ahead.
Well, he looks old, but it's not, okay. I sort of say it's not his fault, but I guess it is because, self-inflicted. Sure.
But I just love giving Steve Corino shit. That's all.
I do too, man. I think in an era where, smaller guys can now get over, once upon a time you had to be a fucking monster if you were going to be in a prime spot. And that sort of changed a little bit. And I can't help but wonder, man, was Steve Corino born like 10 years too early? Because if Steve Corino was 36 right now and not 46, motherfucker be ripping it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And he's a baseball guy, big baseball fan. And I like that about him. And I feel for him because I know he has to work with Terry Taylor now.
Oh, can you imagine?
The rest of the world has been relieved of that. But not Steve.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a story I heard at Starrcast, and I maybe you can confirm or deny this.
All right.
I was told at Starrcast in Baltimore that Terry Taylor created Ass to Mouth.
You and I may have talked about that before. That's what he claims, but I mean, on a Eastern basis, on a Georgia basis, on an NWA, WCW basis, or on a world basis?
Well, I don't know. I think his point was, I never heard of anybody doing it before I did it. Now, I've never actually talked to him about this, and it would probably be an awkward conversation if I tried to bring it up the very first time we hung out.
Yeah.
But, I'm just curious from your standpoint. You think it's true? You think he did it?
I think there probably was a good chance.
You think he maybe invented it?
Could have.
God. It's amazing, dude.
Because I know he discussed it a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was a regular part of the combo.
A regular part of his conversation.
Do you want to describe to our listeners?
No, but I want to see this. First of all, I want to see this head entrance.
All right, here we go.
It's pretty cool.
Track it.
And a broken palate. Talk about brakes.
Oh, this is what sucks about ECW, man. They're not even playing the real music.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I hate that so much. But you know what? I'm going to try to fill it in the gaps for you. I don't know. I can't play much.
Yeah, the visual's good though here.
The visual's great. But let me add the sound for you, buddy.
Okay, go ahead. Sound. All right, enough.
Yeah, that sounds like Lois when you finally get a good pump going.
Well, no.
All right, that's enough.
No, I just want to make sure we make money on YouTube,
Yeah, and boy, old Steve Kaufman's really crushing it for us lately.
Boy, he is, isn't he? Huh?
Goddamn.
$20, $30. Thank you, Steve.
Last month we made enough to go to Crystal's. Not together, but one of us.
Exactly. Except Dave Silva.
No, I'm not sending that motherfucker. You know, I haven't seen him in so long. It's been real nice. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Look at this,
you're lucky
dude.
because he
Look
and I
at this.
text about every day.
Look at this,
That's pretty cool.
dude. How about the camera angles? I know people really, talk shit about Kevin Dunn and I think you even use it a lot, rack focus and things like that.
Right.
But the deal is, for a special entrance like this, it adds to the vibe. And clearly Paul Heyman's going for like a rave type vibe at the time. And
right.
Hey, speaking of raves, have you been to a rave before?
Do what?
Have you ever been to a rave?
I've never heard of a rave.
Did you ever have you ever done dances with glow sticks?
No, I have not.
Have you ever tried ecstasy?
No.
What party drugs have you done, Tony?
I've done, well, I smoked some pot. I've had some edibles. That's it. That's all I've done.
Okay. Well, I need you.
Never done cocaine, never smoked crack, never injected anything. None of that.
Well, get ready, buddy, because you got a 5-hour car ride coming up with Jim Ross. You're going to learn today.
So anyway, what about this rave?
Well, I'm just saying, I think it would be funny, the visual of you sort of rolling with some glow sticks. I think that would just be tremendous.
So there's raving involves drugs and glow sticks.
Well, it's a party. Okay. And so there'll be loud music and maybe a band or a DJ, and they're going to play loud music with very little lyrics probably. And, electronica type music.
Yeah. Got it. Sounds like a terrible waste of time.
Well, then you take some psychedelic drugs or some party drugs, and you may drink, and you'll just start dancing and sweating, and then you'll break out the glow sticks, and it'll look like Dusty Rhodes. Remember when he'd do like flip flop and fly?
Yeah.
Imagine if that some bitch had a couple glow sticks in his hands.
That'd be something.
He's raving now. Not raving, raving. Not
Raving.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I bet Raven's been to a rave.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And that wasn't popular back during that time. It's popular now, right? Or it's been popular throughout.
It was popular back then.
Okay.
I don't know what the kids are doing now. I think they're just eating bath salts and shit now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm old now, Tony. You see, I'm married, and
I know your life is slowed down, buddy. That's okay.
It used to be shoe shows and spend the night parties, and it was
The Life I Had by Conrad Thompson.
Yeah. Now I eat supper about 5:30.
Yeah.
And watch 60 Minutes and
oh my God.
Call my old pal Tony Schiavone. And
you don't watch game shows at like 7:00, like Jeopardy or anything like that, do you? Or
yeah, I watch Jeopardy.
Right. Okay. The Price is Right and whatever else they have.
No, I don't watch Price is Right. Now I have to admit, I have watched Jeopardy. I don't watch it all the time, but I watch Jeopardy probably 5 or 6 times a year.
Yeah. Jeopardy sucks. It's a work.
Well, no, everything sucks, Tony.
Yeah.
If I've learned anything during quarantine, it's that everything sucks.
But the Jeopardy has always sucked because it's a work.
Well, but
no one knows that much shit. And if they really know that much shit, then they have no common sense because they have no time for common sense. That's all a work. I can tell you that right now.
Why are you hot at these people knowing things?
They're just because I don't buy it.
Well, I'm telling you,
the third peak in the Malaysian Alps and the third donkey on the left was ridden by what? and those fuckers know it.
Oh my God.
And those fuckers know it. Nah, they don't know it. No. Fuck, they can't fucking fool me. You know what? And that's what pro wrestling has done. It has tainted me to television. I don't buy any of this, the Bachelor stuff and all these reality shows. I always thought Survivor was a work. I don't buy any of that shit, man. I don't.
What about coronavirus? Is coronavirus a work?
For some people, it's not. But I don't think it's as dangerous as people think overall. Now, it's dangerous to people with pre-existing conditions, but as far as other people, no, I don't think so. I say coronavirus is the plague for the mathematically challenged.
What is that?
That's my feeling on that.
The mathematically challenged?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate?
Well, the chance of you getting the coronavirus is not that great. Now, it doesn't mean you won't get it, but I don't think it's that great. And I think it's great that we're taking precautions so that elderly people and people with pre-existing conditions don't get it.
All right, let's get in our Wayback Machine here for a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about the late 70s.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the real early 80s.
Yeah.
As a rule, I'm just going to step out and say, as a rule, Tony Schiavone wasn't wearing a lot of condoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Because somebody hit me with the logic of, you know, you're not that likely to get it. It's, well, I feel like you are the king of just the tip back in the day. And let's just see how it goes. Let's just, you know.
And thus Matt Schiavone was born. 1982.
Yeah, I knew you weren't a condom user.
Yeah, I always threw caution to the wind. But I hope this quarantine is, well, you know, it's slowly, and you know what I think is good?
What?
I think it's that even though like here in Georgia, they are slowly trying to get back to normal, people are still being very leery of that and being very cautious. And I think it's good. I think it's really good. Hey, we got a match going on here.
Yeah, let's talk about it. They're going to go 13 minutes and 5 seconds. Shane Douglas is going to get the pinfall win.
Yeah.
He gets a star and a quarter. Meltzer would say this came off as one of the most illogical performances by two wrestlers who have been around long enough to know better. The two just did a regular match, forgetting the entire storyline, whether worked or otherwise, that had been built around the match. Douglas even did a leap off the top rope over the guardrail on the snow and actually didn't quite reach his target and could have really done a number on himself in the process. So he breaks down, you know, that it wasn't a great match. And then he says, after the match, all the wrestlers, including numerous ones who weren't even on the show, like Darren Drozdoff, Bobby Duncombe Jr., Doug Furness, and even Jack Victory, who now works security with Bill Eadie, hit the ring and put both men on their shoulders as if we'd just seen a Flair Steamboat in their prime. And the two congratulated each other for their classic performance. Even if they had come close, it makes no logical sense since Snow had just laid out Douglas's girlfriend. Actually, until the screwed up finish spot, this was a decent match if there had been no storyline going in that caused it to not make any sense. After the show ended, Paul Heyman gave a speech in front of the crowd saying that he always hated Atlanta, but realized it wasn't Atlanta he should have hated, but just WCW, and claimed that Atlanta was now ECW country. So I guess the backstory that's not touched on there is Shane Douglas is hurting so badly here that he doesn't even fly to the show. He has someone drive him, and he's all kinds of gimmicked up here, not in a bad way, but just to fight through the pain. He really does have a crushed palate. He really does have a shattered elbow. He's hurting in a bad way and needs surgery. And he's out here doing his best with Al Snow because ECW had Al Snow on loan from WWE, and they shined him up and made him into a fucking main event pay-per-view guy here. But Shane Douglas felt the pressure was on him to perform, and maybe a little bit of encouragement from Paul Heyman, and they're doing their best, but for all intents and purposes, this match shouldn't have happened.
Oh, well, yeah. And I see that. And I understand that what Meltzer is saying, that they are not wrestling to the storyline here, and they're two great performers. You know, you and I have mentioned this before. Shane Douglas, really in his prime, one of the great promos, great talkers, and the head gimmick was over. So I get it. But again, here's my thing. And I know this is very old school. After Sabu and RVD use all the chairs and all the tables, these chairs mean nothing. I don't care what the rules are. They have no impact because you've seen too much of it.
Let me mention Shane Douglas was hospitalized 2 nights before the show in Atlanta. and he's doing elbow surgery. He's got other medical problems like the sinus and palate injuries that are more significant. Meltzer would write, according to Heyman, Douglas saw about 2 minutes into the match that they were losing the crowd, and Douglas changed the entire match around, just wanting to have a good action match. So he didn't sell his injuries at all. And his offense consisted mainly of punches and chops and even suplexes, using the supposedly broken arm without even selling that individual moves were getting him in pain. So he's very critical of the performance. You know, they made a gut call here to sort of switch gears a little bit. Meltzer's just not a Shane fan though. He says Shane Douglas again tried to position himself in a live interview as being in the same league of a Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, but while providing a gutsy performance may well have revivaled Masawa or Michaels of late, he had no business in the ring, and those guys didn't put on an embarrassing performance. Surprisingly, worked a match totally devoid of psychology and storytelling, which ended up exemplifying Douglas looks the look and talks the talk. But after one disappointment after another on big shows, the number of people he's able to convince he can walk the walk must be only limited to the most gullible. And when it was done, the basic feeling was that Paul Heyman is a miracle worker in the editing booth every Monday, but when the chips are down and it's live, the story is very different. Only one wrestler on the show wrestled at a major league level, just incredible, and he was a one-man show in his match. Bigelow, who is realistically the best worker in the company, didn't have a chance as he worked a match literally with an opponent who passed out in the middle of the match.
My God.
That's a real thing. So, and you know,
look at the cop went down. Jesus.
It's worth mentioning that, that is what Bruce Pritchard has said for years, that Paul Heyman, you know, live ECW sucked, but Paul Heyman was a miracle worker and knew how to, as Paul Heyman would say, accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. So he'd make cool videos and music videos and recaps and highlight reels. And with the music that he was playing that wasn't licensed, he could convince you that, man, this is some cool shit. But then when you go see it live, it's just a mess. And sometimes that criticism was unwarranted and I didn't feel like it was fair, but you see a show like this, and we've seen some spectacular ECW shows. This is not one of them.
No, it's not.
And how about that? Just one of the worst rolls ever. And that's it.
The shoulders up.
No, I thought for sure that reversal was it.
No, it's coming though. It's coming up off the left when he goes up, and it's very close. See, here come the gimmick guys now.
Yeah, they're all out here to cheer on what a Matt classic this has been. Except it wasn't.
But it wasn't, right? Ah, my girl's in. Don't. No.
He's grabbing her by the throat, Tony.
No, and now by the cooter.
Oh, he took care of her though.
Yeah, good.
Oh, Al just gave Chris head.
And here comes the fucked up spot, I do believe.
Boy, yeah, Axel Rotten was way behind on saving Bam Bam Bigelow from making the save.
Watch this one. Watch this one.
Oh man.
Oh, there it is.
That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner
and they're playing the terrible music again. But yeah, here come the heads. By the way, I had one of these. I was so excited.
Really?
And the thing is, you're a kid, you don't fucking know any better. I was so excited to have a goddamn styrofoam head. And I was like, man, this is from an ECW show. This is awesome. And then you realize, you stupid fucker, it's
you can get them at any Hobby Lobby.
Well, you've been buying styrofoam heads on me?
Yeah, I've got a styrofoam head. I got a Batman cowl on it here in the Bat Cave.
Dude, I didn't know you were an Al Snow fan this whole time.
Well, there you go. Closet Al Snow fan.
Well, I'm a closet nothing. I got nothing. Next week though, we're going to watch a really special show and I just cannot wait. It's a Raw watch along from May 19th, 2003. And I know what you're thinking. Why the fuck are you getting excited about watching Raw? Well, yeah, because it's got one of the best Ric Flair matches of the era.
Really?
He is this is one night after Triple H defended his big gold belt world championship on pay-per-view. And they announce the GM, which I believe is Stone Cold Steve Austin, if I remember, says, hey, you've got to defend your title tonight against a former world champion. But here's the twist. I'll let you pick who. And of course, at the time, Ric Flair is Triple H's second. So he's like, okay, I'm going to wrestle Rick. So he does that thinking, well, it's a night off. And then Rick is excited. I've got a fucking title shot. Here we go. And Rick takes it seriously, cuts one of his best promos of the era backstage with Triple H, and they go steal the show in Greenville, South Carolina. That's what we're doing next week. And I wish we were doing it right now because I'm fucking fired up for it. But unfortunately, it looks like it's about that time, Tony.
It is about that time, Conrad. Thank you very much. And now coming out for the ring, to the ring, that is, Paulie Dangerously. And also coming out of the ring is Conrad Thompson. And here comes Dave Silva. And now here comes the manager of Dave Silva, Taz. And hang on a second. I've just been given a note. Bro, don't ever mention my name on your podcast again, or I'll... Have you ever heard of Suplex City Jones? We're desperately out of time. See you next week on What Happened.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.